NFL Week 1 is just 3 weeks away, and I can feel the excitement buzzing through every Dolphins fan out there. We've waited all offseason, counting down the days, dreaming about the moment our Miami Dolphins finally take the field for real. And it all starts with a trip to Indianapolis to face the Colts in the season opener. The smell of football is back in the air. But along with that excitement, there's also a big, flashing warning sign for this team. I wish I could say this is all sunshine and perfect passes. But the truth is, Miami's secondary is in trouble, and last week's back-to-back joint practices with the Detroit Lions ripped the cover off that problem for the entire football world to see. If you were watching closely, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Jared Goff and the Lions receivers turned our defensive backs into target practice. At times, it felt like varsity versus JV out there. Before we dive into the latest breaking Dolphins news, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and don't forget to turn on the bell icon so you never miss a single update. We're going to keep you locked in all season long with every story that matters to Dolphins Nation. Now, let's get back to business. Even though the defense bounced back with a stronger showing in the second joint practice, that first day was so rough it left a sour taste that's hard to ignore. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, they got open whenever they wanted. 1-on-1s, 7-on-7s, full 11-on-11 drills. It didn't matter. Our cornerbacks just couldn't keep up. Right now, Miami's cornerback depth chart is looking shaky. Storm Duck has been a bright spot in camp, but Kendall Sheffield at CB2? That's a reality check. Losing Kader Kohu to injury was a massive blow. And while Mike Hilton is a capable nickel option, the depth behind them is untested. Jack Jones has had some solid reps, but even he got exposed badly when tasked with locking down St. Brown. If the Dolphins want to make a serious run this season, this secondary can't just be good enough. It has to be playoff ready. And as of today, it's not there yet. The truth is, this cornerback group just isn't built to survive an entire NFL season as it stands right now. And unless something changes, and changes quickly, it could be the Achilles' heel of this team. I don't know if Chris Grier is already working the phones or has a deal in the works, but Miami desperately needs help at corner. And look at who's on the schedule. This isn't just any gauntlet. It's a murderer's row of elite wide receivers. You've got Stephon Diggs twice, Garrett Wilson twice, one game against T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. That's a nightmare pairing for any secondary. Then you've got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin lined up on the same field, plus a dangerous rookie like Emeka Egbuka, who's already turning heads in the league. Yes, every team faces great receivers, but not every team does it with one of the league's thinnest cornerback rooms. Right now, Miami's unit is easily bottom 3 in the NFL, and that's what makes this so frustrating. The rest of this defense is strong. The pass rush is fierce. The linebackers are solid. The offense? It looks explosive enough to make a serious playoff push. But one glaring weak spot in the secondary could drag the entire roster down. If I'm being brutally honest, my confidence level in this group is low, very low. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd put it at a 3.7. That's not panic mode yet, but it's not far from it. And if I had to pick one cornerback right now who inspires real trust, it's Storm Duck. He's been the lone bright spot, showing fight and consistency while others have struggled to keep up. Miami has the talent to be special this year, but without reinforcements in the secondary, they'll be walking into a season full of matchups that could turn into shootouts. And those are battles this defense isn't built to win. I'll be honest, when training camp started, I wasn't sold on the idea of Storm Duck holding down a starting corner spot. But give credit where it's due. He's been one of the few bright spots in this secondary. Duck plays smart, stays disciplined, and rarely lets a play get away from him. He keeps everything in front, maintains solid technique, and doesn't panic when the ball is in the air. Now, he's not perfect. He's been beaten at times. But when you're lining up every day against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, two of the top receivers in all of football, you're going to lose a few reps. The key is, he competes on every snap and doesn't fold under pressure. At this point, I'm comfortable saying he's capable of being a CB1 or CB2 for this team, something I wasn't ready to admit just a month ago. Unfortunately, that level of trust doesn't extend across the rest of the cornerback group. Beyond Duck, the confidence meter drops sharply. The one area in this secondary that actually feels stable? The safety room. And that wasn't always the case. Early on, when it was just Ashton Davis and Ifeatu Melifonwu after free agency, optimism was hard to find. But then Miami swung the deal that changed everything, bringing in Minkah Fitzpatrick as part of the Jalen Ramsey-Jonnu Smith trade. That instantly gave this defense a leader and a proven playmaker on the back end. Since then, the safeties have looked sharp, both in joint practices against the Bears and Lions, and in camp battles against our own high-powered offense. Minkah, in particular, has silenced a lot of the chatter about whether he's lost a step after a so-called down year in Pittsburgh. The big question for Minkah Fitzpatrick this season is simple. Will we see the same elite playmaker we've come to know, or is his best football behind him? Based on what we've seen in training camp so far, the answer leans heavily toward the first option. Minkah has looked locked in, diagnosing plays quickly, stepping up in run support, and showing the range and ball skills that made him one of the NFL's top safeties. Ifeatu Melifonwu has also made steady strides, improving with each practice since coming off the non-football injury list. It's unfortunate that Ashton Davis went down, but Elijah Campbell has stepped in and been a dependable third safety. Behind them, McKinley Morris and Dante Trader Jr. provide depth that's already proven useful in camp rotations. This safety group gives Miami a genuine strength in the secondary, one that could help limit the damage caused by the thin cornerback depth. Realistically, though, safeties can't completely erase the weaknesses on the outside. The corners will still be tested week after week by some of the league's best receivers. And that's why I keep coming back to the same point. Miami should be aggressive in finding veteran help at cornerback. Whether it's a proven name like Stephon Gilmore or a younger talent such as Asante Samuel Jr., adding one more high-level cover man could change the entire outlook for this defense. So far, it doesn't seem like the front office is moving in that direction, but in my opinion, they absolutely should. When I see Stephon Gilmore still sitting in free agency, it's hard not to wonder why Miami hasn't made a move. Yes, he's lost a step. No one's pretending he's the same shutdown corner who once took home Defensive Player of the Year honors. But even with that, his production last season was better than some starters who are locked into jobs around the league. Gilmore brings more than just on-field performance. He's the kind of veteran who could walk into the Dolphins locker room tomorrow and instantly command respect. Players like Jason Marshall Jr. and Storm Duck could benefit hugely from his experience, learning how to study film, position themselves against elite receivers, and handle the grind of a long season. On the field, he'd still be an upgrade over the current options on the outside. Off the field, his professionalism, punctuality, and leadership would give Miami a stabilizing presence in a position group that badly needs it. The Dolphins wouldn't have to guess if he'd show up ready to work. That's a given with Gilmore. And while Gilmore would be a smart, steady signing, there's also another intriguing name worth watching. Asante Samuel Jr. In terms of raw talent, he might be the most gifted corner who could realistically be available. Adding someone like him wouldn't just patch a hole. It could give Miami a true difference maker in the secondary. The biggest roadblock with Asante Samuel Jr. right now is health. He underwent neck and shoulder surgery back in April, and while there was early talk from Jeremy Fowler that he might be cleared by mid to late July, here we are on August 15th with no sign of an official medical clearance. That's likely the main reason he's still unsigned. If that green light ever comes, Miami should be ready to act immediately. A healthy Samuel Jr. would inject speed, ball skills, and top-tier coverage ability into a position group that desperately needs it. As for Rasul Douglas, I think that chapter has closed. For starters, he's simply not in the same class as Gilmore or Samuel Jr. Production, consistency, or upside. On top of that, he's already turned down 2 contract offers from the Dolphins. one back in May and another just a few weeks ago, right before Miami brought in Jack Jones and Mike Hilton. If a player doesn't want to be here, there's no point in chasing him. And truthfully, at 30 years old, Douglas is more solid depth than true difference maker. At this stage, the Dolphins front office faces a choice: stand pat with a shaky cornerback room, or take a calculated risk on a proven veteran once the right opportunity presents itself. The window for this team to make a real run is wide open. The question is whether they'll show up the one weakness that could slam it shut. Here's the bottom line. If this Dolphins defense struggles in 2024, it probably won't be because of the pass rush, the linebackers, or the safeties. It's going to come down to the corners. Every other position group is strong. The defensive line, with Zach Sealer, Kenneth Grant, and Benito Jones, is stout inside. The edge rushers, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and Chop Robinson, can pressure any quarterback in the league. The linebackers, led by Tyrell Dodson, Jordan Brooks, KJ Britt, and Willie Gay Jr., are one of the most well-rounded units in football. The safeties? We've already established their legitimate strength. But the corners, they're the weak link. Based on camp so far, my projection for the 53-man roster at that position would be Storm Duck, Mike Hilton, Kendall Sheffield, Jack Jones, Jason Marshall Jr., and Ethan Bonner. Cam Smith, despite being a recent draft pick, hasn't shown enough between the injuries and inconsistent play to earn a spot right now. This is why I can't understand how Chris Grier can look at this group and think it's enough to survive a 17-game season. Miami has over $11 million in cap space. Signing a veteran like Stephon Gilmore for $4 minus $5 million would instantly raise the floor of this position. No, it wouldn't suddenly make the unit elite. The ceiling would still be below league average, but it could lift them from potential worst in the league to at least bottom 5. And in today's NFL, sometimes raising the floor is what keeps your season alive. The Dolphins are built to win now. They've got the offensive firepower, a front seven that can dominate, and playmakers on the back end. One smart move at cornerback could be the difference between a playoff run and a season of what-ifs.